Hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a great day. Today we're going to wrap up our series on authority. And pretty much the question is why? Why do we have authority? What's the purpose of having authority in our lives? Hey guys, welcome back. So throughout the series we talked about how when we submit to an officer, we're not submitting to the personal authority or our personal opinion of the officer. We're submitting to the badge behind it. We went over how disobedience can strip away our authority and how obedience can actually elevate and promote our authority. We went over all these different things about authorities, and there's so much more, to be honest. So I encourage you to look it up for yourself. Don't take my word for it, but just look for it. But now the question is, like, yeah, we have authority, yes, we make the enemy run, yes, we change things, but why? See, a lot of times we think that we're given authority so that we could have this awesome life and it's all about me and why I have authority, and now look at me, I'm this authority figure and I just walk around like, look at me, you can't reach to my level, I'm on a higher level than everybody else. See, but that's the wrong concept of why we have authority. The reason why we have authority, in reality, it's not even for you, it's not even for me, myself. The reason why we have authority, the reason why God has given us authority is for others. See, the role of the police officers or any law enforcement agency is just that, to enforce the law. So one of the things that everybody wants to talk about is justice. But what is justice? Justice really is just the administration of law, just to making sure that the law is being fulfilled. So one thing we have to keep in mind, that why laws exist. The laws are not created to oppress us. Although at times it feels like that, right? But they're not made for that. They're actually made to protect us. Every law going into place is targeted to protect somebody, right? It might not be the particular group that you like or agree with, but the laws that are going in are to protect some people, whether both sides, and sometimes they feel one side is violating the rights of somebody else, and you get into these debates. But the law was created to protect you. So the law prevents somebody from just taking somebody else's life, or the law prevents somebody from just going into your house and taking whatever they want. Now, justice is the administration of that. So when somebody takes something that belongs to you, you cry out for justice. When somebody does something that you don't think it's right, and not only it's not right, but it's illegal, you cry out for justice. You want justice to be served. So in that case, you have people that actually go and enforce the law, being the police officers, the ones that go and make sure it's being enforced, law enforcement. So that's the same reason why we have authority. It's not for us, it's for others. So we've been commissioned. So when we walk into places, just like the police officers, they walk into neighborhoods that criminal activity is going on, then they have the power and the authority to just actually put a stop to it. The same thing happens with us. When we walk into places and we see that the kingdom laws are being abused, right? The rights of the kingdom citizens are being violated, that's when we cry out for justice. But crying out for justice isn't enough. We have to be equipped and commissioned with the badge to say, this is what we're going to do and this is how things are going to change. So the law was created to protect, and we were created to enforce the law. So it wasn't for us. See, a lot of times we honestly do think that it happened for us. It's for me. It's for me to have a really nice life, and those are 100% perks. And also another thing that we think, it's like, we all remember the story of the prodigal son. Everybody talks about it. That's probably one of the most used stories in the world, right, to bring people to God. But one of the parts that we leave out, and it might be for a reason, right, people are not ready to hear it, but if you know that story, right, it's where where the father forgave his son that he took off with all the money that belonged to him, and he came back. See, but the father not only forgave him, he gave him back the signet ring, which signified authority. So the forgiveness was necessary and crucial to reestablish authority. See, that's the part that we leave out. And what has happened in our culture is that we began to be so much lovers of ourselves that we actually believe that this authority was given just for me. And we start putting ourselves in pedestals thinking that we're holier than other people, holier than other leaders and other pastors. But in reality, we were there for the benefit of all. Our life has now become a sacrifice to everybody else. Just like the police officers, they're sworn in to give up their life to protect and serve. Their life doesn't belong to them. Their life, their purpose, their job is being fulfilled by laying their life down every day to ensure that your life is okay. See, that's the same thing as us as a church. That's the same thing as we've been commissioned with authority. We should lay down our life that we can make sure that everyone else's life around us is working properly. And that means when there's sickness that comes through, when there's poverty, when there's division, we're the ones that go in and mend it. We bring solutions. A lot of times it may seem that we're part of the problem, but it's time to really stand up, and it's time to really just join arms together and be like, you know what, we have been given authority, right? And you don't have to agree with everybody else. The police officers, they might not agree with each personal belief that their other fellow officers have, but at the end of the day, when it comes to public safety, it all has to be laid down for the common good of enforcing the law. Now, when I'm talking about law, I'm not talking about the laws of the commandments or anything like that. I'm talking about the laws that have been put in place for justice, right? Again, when we see the enemy just riddling somebody's life with mental or physical aches or just blockages, it's our job to go and tell them, hey, you know what, you don't have to live like this. There's liberty and there's justice for all in the kingdom of God. So think about that for a second. Think about why you've been commissioned with this authority. And yes, 100%, you have the perk to have this authority and speak against things in your own life. 100%, it should start there, but it shouldn't stop there. See, our job is to go. We were commissioned to go out. See, the police officer's job is not to stay within the walls of the precinct, which some have their role there, but most should be out there. That's the same thing. I mean, God has given us this great, awesome life that we can just study and examine, and you start examining these things, and yes, they're corrupted by human minds, but when you start studying how authority works and just start studying authority within the police department, or authority within the military, or authority in any chain or whatever business, and you're gonna start realizing how authority works and begin to apply it with you and God, and I promise you that your life will begin to change. So I hope it was a great help to you guys. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more teachings, and just bear with me and put in the comments what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to talk about. But just remember, we have been commissioned to bring forth the kingdom of God here on earth. It's not something that would be nice. It's something that should happen. Remember, we are God's weapons of choice, right? For here, and again, just to clarify one thing, we're not against the people. Just like when you shine light to a physical object, it doesn't affect the physical object itself, but the light drives out the darkness influencing or enveloping that physical object. That's the same thing when we shine the light of God unto others. It should, and it does, drive out the darkness around it. It's not an attack against the physical object. It's not an attack against the physical person, but the influences behind it. So I just encourage you to look at everything for yourself. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great day.